What do you think of Andrew Tate?
You know, I think that he's done good. I watch his clips and I think that he's done a lot for, you know, some young men. I think he's an interesting figure. I think he started a lot of really important conversations. Do I think that he is like a masculine role model? No, I don't. And I think partially because I just don't love that lifestyle. I'm like, I look at a man and I don't qualify his masculinity because of how rich he is or how fast of a car he has or how many like high, you know, S tier women he's able to get.
Even if it's a Bugatti though.
Well, yeah, do not care. Like, I would rather you drive a truck or some kind of Bronco and be a normal guy and have really great values. And like, I don't care how many cigars you smoke. And so I think that kind of turns me off a bit. Maybe that's very superficial, but I'm like, I just don't, you're not appealing to me. But I understand that guys like that. And I understand that it's like, and like cool for them and that sort of thing. And maybe you can, you know, I don't know what you think about him, but I know I have guy friends who are like, oh, he's so cool. Like, he's making me feel like empowered and he's speaking to me.
Part of me is shocked that people can't see, like I see in terms of politics, I see both sides equally. And I'm like, I love these things about this. Yeah. And I love these things about this. And we could like bring them together. Yeah. But I don't identify necessarily with one or the other. I just kind of pick and choose bits and pieces, but I do the same thing with people. It's like I might disagree with some things they say, but I'm like, that one thing, I kind of like that. Yeah. And I'll pick and choose from that. Do you think people have the ability to do that, though? Because it seems like now it's less about saying, I like this one thing about this person, and I agree with like taking accountability.
I think people are more closed-minded when they get a little bit younger, though. So like, I think like our generation, Gen Z, is like, they like, you either hate them or you love them. Yeah. But for an older generation, I feel like it's much different. There's more older.
Like
older.
Am I older?
You're a millennial, right?
I'm a millennial.
You are older. There you go.
True.
Like I got flamed. Actually, it wasn't terrible, but I definitely did see some pushback in my comments because I was talking about Jeffree Star, and he, you know, was talking about, you know, gender binary and that kind of thing, and he came out and he was saying like the they them stuff, it just doesn't make sense. And he's also spoken out against, you know, gender transitions for children, saying they're not ready for that sort of thing. And so I made a video and I said, you know, obviously this YouTuber has a lot of controversy. He's done a lot of stuff. People hate him for many reasons, but this is something that we can commend, at least that my audience can commend. He's saying protect children. There we go. And people were like, no, but he's done all this like other stuff. And I don't like him. I'm not like, rah, Jeffree Star, I love all your videos. But I'm like, hey, that was a good thing. I think some, you know, conservatives also think that means like you're bending the knee or compromising your values. I'm like, no, I'm not becoming a fan. I'm just acknowledging when somebody does something that, you know, might be beneficial for a listener, might open up their eyes to something new. And I think it's the same thing with Andrew Tate, like you're saying. His lessons and his messages of, you know, taking accountability as a young man and speaking to young men and saying, I know it's hard for you right now. I know that, you know, modern feminism, you know, tells you need to be effeminate and like all of this stuff. Like, I know it's tough, but here are some of the things that you could do. Do I like the way he speaks about women? No, I don't. I think it's very weird. And obviously, you know, there's a lot of back and forth about what he was doing in Eastern Europe or whatever. I don't love the way that he's spoken about that. Like, I remember he said, you know, I think it was about sex trafficking or no, it was like, you know, he doesn't condone rape, but, you know, in some countries it's technically legal. So, and I was like, well, like there's still a moral wrong there. There's still a moral wrong. I think that kind of goes back to like, even if something's legal or whatever, I'll still, I would believe that it is wrong. So I obviously don't support those things, but I think he's had viral moments, and I think he has started important conversations online. Maybe that's how I would kind of frame it.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I think he's a disruptor, and I think disruptors are extremely needed because it's super easy to
that's
just
a good
go
way
with
to put
the flow.
It. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
he gained a lot more power than I feel like you should probably give to a disruptor just in general, because usually disruptors are more extreme and you don't want someone super extreme to be like exactly, but there's more gravitational pull with people that are extreme like him, so it makes sense. What I noticed with Andrew Tate, people that like are around me that are like big Andrew Tate fanboys, is the fact that he kind of gave that whole victimhood mentality to dudes, which a lot of people don't really see, but that's what I saw, because he was like, you know, it's hard to be a dude. Dudes are depressed at rates that have never been seen before and stuff like that. And guys are like, oh my God. And everybody I don't want to say everybody wants to be a victim, but a lot of people, it's easy to be a victim because then you have an excuse. So people were like, okay, yeah, this sounds good. And then he's like, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. And people were like, oh, wow, that's cool. And every dude wants to be a hero. And he's basically teaching you how to be a hero.
Into the fear.
But I think he offers some like solutions. I think he acknowledges like, things are tough. And I think you brought up an important point, because I kind of struggle with, talking to, my audience of like young men and young women and saying like, you have it really bad and this like society is so screwed up. But I try to make it pretty even. Talking about like the boy crisis, because I also think that there is a huge like young woman crisis. Like there's a reason why the majority of young people transitioning right now are girls. Like there's a reason why like I think girls committing suicide at a young age is now above. I mean, it's like girls have so many issues. As like a young girl, I knew what it was like. I understand going through puberty and literally feeling like you don't belong in your body and what's going on and all of this stuff. But I think only telling people that you are a victim and that people hate you is not the best. And so I do think with things like Andrew Tate, it was like, I wish that he had offered more solutions in a way of like,
all it was like get rich buying my program and also work out, which is great.
Get a six pack. Yes. That was very interesting advice. But it's like,
I think that's good.
But at the end of the day,
I agree.
Go to the gym.
Yeah.
Go to the gym and bring value.
Yeah.
But also get rich and get like a harem of women. Which I feel like is
like, okay.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we can take what we want, the ideas that we want to serve us.
But by making money, you're adding value in some way. It can
you're being a productive member of society.
It could bring a lot of purpose depending on what you're doing. If you're adding value to somebody else, it could be setting goals.
I don't think money brings purpose.
But I'm saying if you're doing something of value,
you are making money.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, I would agree with that.
Not the money itself, but like to bring value, you have to be doing something to society. You have to be doing something of value, hopefully.
Yeah.
To do that.
No, I think that there are really good takeaways and really poor takeaways for Tate. Absolutely. Yeah.
But I think the best way that you said it was a disruptor, and I agree we need more of those because I think people get so caught up in this very polarized groupthink. And I think if one person on, other sides pops through and is like, I disagree with this, and it causes like massive whatever, it starts conversations, whether or not that changes people's minds. I think polarizing figures like Joe Rogan is a great example, and he's somebody that's kind of wrote it really well, I think. Of like, he's unafraid to say things that are super controversial and have people on that are, controversial and opening up those conversations, and he'll say something every once in a while that people are like, oh my God. But you like him so much now he's gained this audience, and it's like, okay, you respect it. But I think having those people pop up is so important for this culture where everybody is so terrified to say something that is out of line.